What we wanted to do with Hebrides Islands on the Edge was create a sense of epic, dynamic life in a relatively geographical small part of the world. The whole Hebridean archipelago, it's only a few hundred miles long, but it's right out on the edge of the Atlantic Ocean. So the animals and people there have to suffer extremes of climate and environment. It's a very challenging place to live. I feel like I've been making Hebrides Islands on the Edge for a very large stretch of my life. We first came up with the idea of doing it before my daughter was even born, which was back in 2009. And here we are, 5 or 6 years later, she's now at school. So it was a real passion project that lasted for, the best part of, 3 years in terms of editing and post-production. People might say Wildlife on Britain's pretty low-key, but, we had a very strong sense that there's much more to it than that, and probably Scotland is the only place in Europe where you get that, real spectacle in terms of numbers of animals and birds. What are the numbers of gannets on St Kilda? It's a gannet colony 500,000 strong. It rivals anything in the Antarctic or the Galapagos. It's absolutely massive. For a blue chip series, we didn't have an enormous budget. We had a very healthy budget by the standards of UK factual television, but not as much as you would get for a series like Galapagos or a Madagascar. So basically, we were a small company with a big project, and the way we made it work was we deployed a very small team of people on our project for a very long time. We were very lucky because 2 members of that team were probably 2 of the best blue chip cameramen in the world, namely John Aitchison, who shot most of the topside stuff, and Doug Anderson, who shot all of the underwater stuff. So basically it was all about quality rather than quantity, and people deployed very carefully and strategically over quite a long period of time to deliver maximum value in terms of sequences and stories. We've built up some very important relationships over the years with people on the ground on the west coast of Scotland and the Hebrides. And that was absolutely key in delivering the series. We're working with people who are, creel fishermen who go out every day setting creels, but they also keep an eye out for the basking sharks which come and go. So we've got this network of people which have their ears to the ground the whole time. They're feeding us back information, and because we've got that flexibility of crewing, we can deploy very quickly to different parts of the Hebrides. And if you work like that, you can get remarkable sequences. In our 3rd programme, we have a sequence of stranded pilot whales on Uist, something that no one had even seen before, let alone filmed. So although a lot of the wildlife is familiar, our kind of access and field work just kind of lifted it to a whole new level, really. I'm not obviously Scottish, but my family live in Scotland, I live in Scotland, and we're very passionate about Scotland, the Hebrides, and the wildlife that lives there. And I think that suffuses the spirit of the whole series. We were lucky enough to be able to persuade Ewan McGregor to do the voiceover for us, which he did. He may be a Hollywood megastar, but he put aside a decent amount of time. He didn't charge us Hollywood megastar rates for doing the job, and he did it with as much passion and commitment as John Aitchison, Doug Anderson, or the rest of the production team. I'm very proud that Hebrides Islands on the Edge has got to where it is now. It started in Scotland, it transferred to network BBC Two, it's now on the National Geographic channel internationally. It's done extremely well, and we're even producing another Scottish series which is about the Highlands, which is slightly different in its ambition, in that we're pushing into macro worlds rather than underwater perhaps, but Ewan's agreed to voice it again. So yeah, we're very optimistic about the future.